the finger. Oh, and he just did. Welcome to Vision. I'm so glad you're all here today. I'm so glad you're joining us online. How much joy do you think you could muster up today? You got enough to spare? Let's stand and celebrate.
Good morning, Vision. How are you this morning? What a beautiful day to be alive, isn't it? Happy Palm Sunday. So glad that you're here in this very room. So glad that you've tuned in, our Vision community at large. Glad that you're here as well. Before we go one step further, let's pray in. I give great thanks for this day. I'm just so grateful for each and every one of us here, for those online, for all beings everywhere, knowing that it is the outpicturing of the beloved, knowing that that Holy One has sought and found a way to incarnate itself as all life. And so we know all life is holy, all life is perfect and complete, just as it is. We come together to remember that for ourselves and for each other, that there is one life. It is God's. It is whole, perfect, and complete. It is our life right here and right now, with all of the qualities flowing through us and as us into the world. I give thanks for this limitless potential that we dwell in, knowing it is all God, it is all good, and so it is. It's April. Can you feel it? It's like the energy of planting, the energy of intention, the energy of potential, is all around us. I just love that. Hi, I'm Reverend Patti Paris, Senior Minister here at Vision, welcoming you in. I'm so glad that you're here this morning. What a wonderful day. What do I want to tell you? I want to tell you about practitioners. They're here to support us. They pray with us and for us. The ecclesiastical arm of Centers for Spiritual Living are its practitioners, ministers and practitioners. And so we do that job with you. We pray with you and for you all year long. If you have come with anything on your heart today, there is prayer request forms in your bulletin. There are prayer request forms online too, so take advantage of them. Fill them out. The practitioners and ministers are around with prayer boxes. You can put them in the prayer box. The practitioners will pray all week on them. If you leave your phone number, we'll call you on the phone, pray with you on the phone. We will leave a prayer on your voicemail, however you'd like to be supported. After our celebration here this morning, there's going to be a meet and greet room online. You can even go online and get prayer support. We have breakout rooms in our meet and greet area, and you can just go into a little private room, you and a practitioner, and get prayer online. So there's no excuse. No matter where you are, you can get prayer from licensed practitioners of vision. So please do that. Please do that. Don't forget. Where are the practitioners now? Stand up, guys. Oh, you're already standing. You stand up. Look at all these practitioners and ministers we have. This is wonderful. We have a plethora of practitioners. So we are here to serve you. Please don't leave here without getting prayer support. We absolutely, even if everything is going well in the life, right? You've got the job, you've got the love, you got the house, you got the car, whatever. Can things get better? Absolutely. Always. And what we know is that prayer changes things. So please, please, please get prayer support. What else can I tell you? Oh, I know. There are guest packets. If you came in the front door, or even if you came in the back door, I'm sure you saw them on the welcome table. They're guest packets. Grab one on your way out if you didn't grab one on the way in. Tells you all about who Vision is, the Centers for Spiritual Living Worldwide, the organization with which we are affiliated, and it tells you all about Vision. So grab one. If you know all about Vision already, grab it and give it to someone who doesn't, and introduce them to this Center for Spiritual Living. So I love spiritual living and loving. How about we call it that from now on? I really like that a lot better. We are a Center for Spiritual Living and Loving. Anyway, I'm getting carried away now. We have a greeting on our guest packet, so let's say it. I know you memorized it by now, so let's say it for ourselves. Our guests online, guests here in the room. You ready? You with me? Whoever you are and wherever you are welcome here. You are safe and you are loved. Absolutely. So don't forget, get one on the way out. And now I'm going to turn it over to our celebration singers who are, hey, look, we match. I love that. Oh, this is very cool.
We got the call.
It's that one mind of God. Anyway, I'm going to turn it over to our celebration singers now who are going to sing us our centering song and prepare us for meditation. Thank you.
I breathe and know the truth for me. I breathe and know the truth for you. We breathe and know the truth for all. We breathe and know the truth.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Sam Flynn. I'm a staff minister here at Vision, And now is our time for meditation. So if you'd like to settle back in your seats or make yourself comfortable at home, we'll have some time for quiet and to know the experience of God. The sounds of the bowl will take us into meditation. We'll have some quotes and some prayer. And just enjoy the experience of the divine. And so our quotes for today, the first is by Mark Twain, who writes, "You can't depend on your eyes when your imagination is out of focus." And from Ernest Holmes, our founder, "There is nothing from which to make things except ideas. In the beginning we behold nothing visible. There is only an infinite possibility, a limitless imagination, a consciousness." And so indeed, there is just one life. There is one power and presence. There is one gift. That is God, that is Spirit, that is each one of us. Living that experience of the divine in each and every moment. That is giving, that is breathing. That is fully embracing this experience of life. Always, eternally, in that timeless place that is good, that is love, that is wholeness. And so what I know that is that each one of us is together united in that experience of the divine. One in that place of truth. One in that place of grace. I know indeed the flags are flying, the banners are hanging, indeed hanging in this sanctuary right here and right now. For indeed spring has sprung. The qualities of God are in each of our hearts, in this sanctuary, in those viewing online. Wholeness, peace, beauty, love, empowerment, all of those words to describe the experience of God, those of which we speak each and every week, each and every day, that we live in each moment of our lives. Those are what I call forward here and now by these words. I call them forward powerfully in each life that is here today, that in the sound of my words. I call them forward because they are truth, because they are the truth of our lives, always and forever. For it is Spirit that is living its life through the vision of each one of us, as we hear it powerfully in these times of silence, which we have experienced here today. And so what I know as I speak this word now, the universe hears it, answers yes, as it must. And it breathes into fruition. It is made manifest. It lives itself fully and freely as the world in which we live today. It is already so. It must be, for I speak it now. I accept it. I claim it. I know it is done. I simply give thanks, and I let it be. Please join me in knowing this by saying together, and so it is.
Imagine what it would be like to grow up in Hawaii and learn how to sing. You'd wind up a croonin' Honoluluan, like Andy Anderson. So.
With that very Hawaiian surname. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of our creation. What you'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, want to change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. So go there and be free if you truly wish to. there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. So go there and be free if you truly wish to be. So go there and be free if you truly wish to be. Thank you.
That's lovely. That is so lovely. So here we are in April, and we are living Everyday Wonder. We're living Everyday Wonder all year long, right? But we're living Everyday Wonder creativity this month. It is creativity. And today's talk is Infinite Imaginings. So, what do you think? Or maybe I should ask, what do you imagine? What do you imagine? What do you imagine for your life? What do you imagine for your path? What do you imagine for your creative expression? For your contribution? What do you imagine is possible for your life? That's what we're talking about. Infinite imaginings. I remember as a child, did you ever do that when you lay on a hill, right, on your back and just look up and look at the clouds? Anybody do that when they were a kid? And imagine just all kinds of shapes and animals and things and all kinds of stuff in the sky. The clouds were all sorts of things and kept your imagination just going. You could do it for hours. I remember as a child also the stories that you told, right? The stories you told about when I grow up, right? When I grow up, I'm going to be a professional baseball player and a scientist, and I'm going to go into outer space, and I'm going to stand up there, and I'm going to thank the Academy, right, for whatever, right, or you know, hit that World Series winning home run, or I'm going to be a dancer. I was too short to be a dancer. I was going to be a dancer at Radio City or sing at the Grand Ole Opry. Who was going to sing? Anybody at the Grand Ole Opry? And or stand at the platform, right, where they put the gold medal around your neck for swimming or skiing or vaulting or tennis. Yes, that was mine, right? And all of this, right? We dreamed all of this when we were children. It was all possible. It was all possible. And then, and then you keep growing and life happens and your path winds, right? Your path winds and turns, and challenges urge us on, or maybe provide a reason for us to change course. All kinds of things happen as we're growing. Coaches, parents, teachers, mentors, right, convince us we can, or they provide us maybe a soft landing if we can't. That happens as well. And then as we're growing, we decide for ourselves where our limits are, don't we? Or we decide if we have any limits at all. That's a decision we make. Those are our infinite imaginings, isn't it? All of those things that we think are possible. Ernest Holmes in The Ideas of Science of Mind said, it appears from experience that the only way for an individual to constructively use the creativity of this indivisible but everywhere present mind is by means of our thought, faith and conviction, and nothing else. Our thought, our faith, and conviction, and nothing else. Ultimately, then, we decide where those infinite imaginings take us. It is our thought, faith, and conviction. We decide how much we can do. We decide how much is too much. We decide when we can do, what we can do, and how we can do it. We ultimately wind up deciding that. And then sometimes we have a calling, don't we? Sometimes something just grabs us, or, our passion, or our interests, our hobbies. We get a calling. And our calling may or may not be our job. Our calling may or may not be our vocation. We all have our passion. Our passion may or may not be our profession. We all have a desire to express creatively. We are all creative beings. We are made in the image and after the likeness of the Creator of the universe. We have all of those same qualities within us. We are creative beings. So we desire to express our own personal creativity, our own little version of it. I remember when I started in ministerial school, I'd been a practitioner for several years with Pacific Church at the time, and I remember having this discussion. I remember having the discussion with Larry, and I said to him, gee, I really hate to tell you this. I really hate to tell you this, but I think I have to go to ministerial school. Because I knew what a big change that is on the family dynamic, And I was like, I really hate to say it, but I think I have to go to ministerial school. And he said, yeah, I've known for years. What took you so long? Really? I was, okay, fine. So I was in ministerial school. I entered ministerial school, and the first thing that they ask you in colloquium is, how did you get the call? When did you get the call? Where were you when you got the call, right? Holy moly. And they were all big, gigantic, dramatic, those clouds part, and the Cecil B. DeMille God clouds, the streaming rays came out of the sky, and they just, the whole world opened up, and I was listening to all those dramatic, here's how I got the call, and here's how I got the call, and I thought, mine was not that, Mine was like just kind of little nudges all the time, just a little nudge and another little nudge and a little nudge. It was sort of like, I don't know, sort of like being nibbled to death by ducks, It wasn't really like this big thing. It was just this little... Anyway, we all get a call for one thing or another to express in a particular way. And we get more than one. You don't only have one in your life, right? You get more than one. You are called to do something. You're called to do something else. Then you're called to do something else. And it's up to us to answer those calls, because that is that desire, that is that the Holy One seeking to express through you individually in the way that only you can do it. So those calls need to be answered by us. This week I read a book called Illogical. I love it. Illogical. And it was written by Emmanuel Acho, who was a retired NFL linebacker, okay. Also he went into sports commentating. He became a motivational speaker. He became an author. He wrote the book Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. And then he created a podcast, the video one, a webcast of uncomfortable conversations as well. And in that book, Illogical, he wrote this. He said, when you're called to do something great, either by someone else or by your own internal yearning, there are always plenty of skeptics. I love that, right? Skeptics may pop up in the form of haters, or they might be well-meaning friends who just disagree with your calling. Regardless, he goes on to say, your calling is your calling. It's not a conference call. We are called to do certain things in certain times of our lives. And it's up to us to answer that call. And it's not one and done. I mean, think about it if it was, right? What about those poor little kids who are like 15 years old or 16-year-old gymnasts at the Olympics? It's like, oh, they got the gold medal, that's it? That's it for the rest of their lives? No. There are other goals. There are other calls throughout our whole lives. And once we accomplish something, isn't there a yearning to create more, to create something different? We can be called for something in one phase of our lives and then be called for something totally different at another phase or stage of our lives. Something else can call us. I've been called to do different things at different times. I came to ministry in a sort of roundabout, long and windy road. And a lot of us come to a lot of the things by answering different calls all along the way. I thought I was going to be an artist when I was in my teens. I thought I was going to be an artist. A photographer. When I graduated with a degree in biomedical research. Go figure, right? Became a licensed practitioner. Now a minister. I was called to each and every one of those things. I was called to do them. We all are called to do the things that we are passionate about, and we need to answer that call. I answered my it. That was my it right then, in that moment, maybe in that decade. In a different decade, it's a different it. But we get called to it. We get called to something or another. But our lives are more than a call, more than just imagining. It's more than just infinite imagining, isn't it? Because you got to do something with it. There's a practical part of this thing. Oh God, what's his name? Giancarlo Menotti said this. He said, hell begins on the day God grants us a clear vision of all we might have achieved, of all the gifts we might have wasted, of all we might have done, which we did not do. Okay, so it's our job to answer the call, not just hear it, oh, listen, but to do something, to act on it. Again, in the book Illogical, Emmanuel Acho writes, use it. Whatever your it is, use it. Faith without works is dead. You can find your it. You can develop your it. You can even invest in your it. But if you don't act on your it, you're wasting it. So we have to make the decision. When we get that call, when we get that clear vision, we have to act on it. So we start in infinite imaginings. And I love that, the infinite, the field of infinite potential. You get out of bed in the morning and you put your feet down on the floor, and there you are in the field of infinite potential. You get to pick and choose exactly what your day is going to be like. So that's where we start, in infinite imaginings, daydreaming, wondering, what-ifing, being captivated by something, excited by possibilities, finding your it, right? But then we have to move on, like Acho says, we have to move on to developing our it. Find an expert and learn from them, right? Find an expert who's a master at whatever you're thinking your it is. And practice, practice, practice. How do you get to Carnegie Hall, right? Isn't that the old joke? How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. And here's the thing, practice doesn't make perfect. If you're practicing an incorrect method, practice only makes permanent. Then you get real good at doing it the wrong way. So, learn from an expert. Learn from someone who's just amazing in the field. Practice the expert example. Emmanuel Acho referred to the Wright brothers. The Wright brothers, who invented, they invented the printing press first. They invented their version of the printing press. They were in the publishing business. Then they opened up a store on building and repairing bicycles. That's where they made a lot of their money. And then came the airplane, right? But it was after a while, after they were doing these other things. See, they answered this call, then they answered that call, then came the airplane. But they didn't do it on their own. They learned from a master. They learned from an expert. They learned from Otto Lilienthal. And Otto Lilienthal was the flying man. So I guess at the time, he was the expert in the field. And they learned from him. They learned about lift. They learned about propulsion. They had to fill in that third part because Otto didn't know about the balance part of it, and that's how he died, unfortunately. He died in one of his lighter-than-air crafts because he didn't understand there's more than lift, it's more than propulsion, you also need balance, and he was using the balance, he was using his body as balance. So shifting all around to keep the craft in the air didn't work real well. Anyway, the Wright brothers took it from there. They added their own take on balance, and they made movable wings to create balance. And they created, ta-da, the airplane. But they answered each and every call along the way. See how that works? It's just amazing. So we find our call the very same way, don't we? Through these infinite imaginings. Maybe one door opens and we learn something, and then we learn something else. And we develop by practice. We develop by learning from the experts. And then what do? Then we have to invest in our it. And what does investing in our it mean? But spending time, spending maybe money, resources, right? We have to invest in our it. Think of it as planting seeds. Think of it as acting as if. When we are called to something, we are investing in that thing and we're becoming that thing. Even before we become it, we have to become it, right? We have to act as if. That is faith. That's faith. Ernest Holmes in Love and Law said, faith is the mental attitude which actually takes hold of the substance which exists and brings it right before our eyes. Right before the eyes of the person as evidence that the thing exists. That's that whole, faith is the substance of things hoped for, blah, 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 You know that one, it's in the Bible. But he's saying it is an actual thing. It is an actual substance. Thoughts are things, right? It is an actual, we take hold of these. We take hold of this substance that exists and we bring it right before our eyes. As our own personal potential, as our own personal it. This is for me. Today is Palm Sunday, right? And I think about that. You think about Jesus, right? Walking into the city, walking into Jerusalem, because it was his calling. It was his calling to do that. Come what may, right? Come what may. Not content with the status quo, by the way. He was kind of a rabble-rouser. We have to know that about him, right? Not content with the status quo, he upended things, not only the table, but the way of thinking, right? Made people nervous and uncomfortable, had new thought. He was like the first guy that practiced new thought. And there was new thought right there. He rode into town on a donkey, not a horse, which was an animal of war, not a camel, which was an animal of wealth. He rode in on a little donkey, right? He set an intention for humility and service. And of course, he turned over the tables in the temple to overturn the belief, the superstition of animal sacrifice, right? That's really what that was about. People paying money to buy little animals to then slit their throats. I mean, just not, right? Just not. He was not into that. To overturn the belief in animal sacrifice, and then what did history do but made him the absolute epitome of animal sacrifice? Very interesting. He answered his call, and he made his life the affirmation of new thought. It goes beyond what they were practicing at the time. And in the philosophy of Jesus, Ernest Holmes said this, it's not going to take any more faith than we have now. For one of the greatest lessons we can learn about faith is that we always possess it. We always possess it. We don't have to find it. We don't have to develop it. We don't have to look for it. We always possess it. We always have within us whatever we need to answer our call. It is always at our fingertips. Our thoughts are things. That's what Ernest Holmes said. Take hold of that substance. That thought is an actual substance. Take hold of it. These infinite imaginings are things. Right? They are things. They are not wistful and wishful and wastes of time. Thoughts are things. Our thoughts are creative. Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind said, we must say that all thought is creative, according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind it. Thought creates a mold in the subjective, in which the idea is accepted and poured and sets power in motion according to that thought. Ignorance of this excuses no one from its effects. We're dealing with a law and not whimsical theory. So thoughts are things. Thoughts are powerful. What are you thinking? What are you imagining? It's not fanciful. It's not wistful. It's not wishful. It's things. It is substance. How many calls do you get? How many calls do you get? As many as we are open to, curious for, and passionate about. That's how many calls you get. We are creative beings. We are infinitely creative. What is next for you? What is next for you? What do you imagine? What are you thinking? What's your call? Thank you.
You're too strong, gotta keep on.
Thank you.
My, that was wonderful. Glad you answered your call, Andy. Yay. And now it is time for our conscious circulation. This is our opportunity to give back to this place if you are spiritually nourished here. So I am so grateful. I know the core council thanks each and every one of you for all of the support we've gotten. I mean, it's been a real rough road here these last couple of years, right? And so for all of the good that we have circulating around here, we are absolutely grateful, because what we know is what we are grateful for grows, right? So yeah, okay, so being grateful for the good, being grateful for the abundance that circulates through us, as us, around our lives. Let us just go within and pray. I know that God is abundance. I know as I look around the world, I see an abundance of all good things, an abundance of people and flowers, an abundance of trees, an abundance of blades of grass and grains of sand, and all of the good things of nature in an abundance, lavish and overflowing. We know that spirit is abundance, that one of its qualities is that, and we know that we are that as well. So I give thanks for all of the good that we receive. I give thanks for the good that we pass on so gratefully, so graciously, and I absolutely know each and every one of us standing in the river of God's abundance, accepting joyfully, passing on graciously to others, to each and every person that is doing the work of spirit on earth as we would see it done, with love and joy. We simply let it be, and so it is. So, I know miracle minutes are happening all the time out there. I want you to give me a shout. Let me know what's going on. My email is in the bulletin. Email me, let me know, because I know answered prayer is happening all around. I don't have one to share with you today, but I know I will next week because you're going to email it to me, right? Okay. Now it is time for our last word by Johnny Kirko.
Hello. Hello, everybody online and in the room today. Welcome. Also, I want to mention we're having our meet and greet right after our celebration. Join us with that. We have practitioners for one-on-one prayer available as well. So say hello in there. Also, Coffee Connection is continuing 8:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Join our group together. They get together, say hello, have some coffee, just wake up a little bit, you know, get the sleep out of their eyes and stuff. But say hello to our community. It's 8:30 in the morning. There's links available on the website. We have classes that we started up. A self-mastery class started last week, and there's still time to join that class. It's led by Ann Dinopoli. It's on Tuesday mornings right here in our sanctuary. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning, so it goes from 10 to 1. So join that if you want. It's an accredited class, and it's a good group of people who are going to be a part of that. Reverend Patti Paris is starting up Emma's Divine Dozen. Did you want to talk about that, Reverend Patti? All right, Reverend Patti's going to talk about her class.
I do. We talk about the absolute, and we said Emma's teaching is really a teaching in the absolute. And if you've read High Mysticism, you absolutely know. and her book Resume. Well, what I'm doing here with the Divine Dozen is I'm going back to one of her earlier books. I'm going back to the Scientific Christian Mental Practice, which is for me, this practical approach to the absolute. You know, when you read High Mysticism, and sometimes it can be like a little heady, and for me, this scientific Christian mental principle is the relative. Sometimes you have to go through the relative to get to the absolute. This is sort of the relative. For me, her writing is, this book is a way for you to approach the absolute through the relative absolute. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, they're always the same 12 lessons. She's always teaching the same 12 lessons, but it's through different channels. It's through different ways of explaining it to us. And so this is the basics of the absolute, if you want to call it that. And it's a wonderful way to get a really good firm grasp on her teaching, because sometimes it really does challenge us. I know High Mysticism was a real challenge. The gospel series that she did, and we did, I think, last year sometime, was huge. So here is a way to approach those 12 lessons in such a way that we can understand them, we can incorporate them into our daily lives, and really practice those 12 lessons. Because remember, those 12 lessons flow through all the new thought, from science of mind to religious, to divine science, to unity. All of the new thought churches really got their foundations through these 12 lessons of Emma Curtis Hopkins. She was the teacher of teachers, and here is a great way in. So please join me. When is it? A week from Monday, 6 to 8 in the evening, online. So wherever you are, you can just pop in, and we will do this work. It's amazing. It's transformational. Thank you.
All right, Reverend Patti. How about Mr. Andy Anderson today? How about his Pips today, too, huh? Andy Anderson and the Pips. Speaking of Andy Anderson, we are having a concert with Andy and Nathan right here in our space. It's a week from Wednesday night. It's on 420, so we're calling it Higher and Higher. Thank you, Dan. Thank you. So it's going to be fantastic music, 7 p.m. right here in our space. It's online as well, so tickets are available. What we're doing for this is we've got little tables we're going to be setting up in the sanctuary. So you'll be set up with tables, but you get to bring your own food and drinks and stuff like that, because down the road we'll be bringing that into the group. But so that time you'll have tables, you bring your own food and drinks, stuff like that. If you want to do it online, you also can purchase an online ticket for that as well by giving a donation for it. Check us out on the website. You'll look on the calendar for that date, and you can purchase tickets for either online or for the group right here in the space. It's $20 for tickets right here in our group. So Andy and Nathan, good music. Yes. Next week is Easter. So we have Reverend Patti Paris and the Higher Vision Choir is going to be back with us. We're welcoming everybody into our space. Come and celebrate Easter with us. It's going to be a fantastic day. We got almost 20 people in the choir. It's going to be a really cool setup. So join us online or in the room. As you can tell with the energy in the room, if you're here today, you understand when Andy's singing his songs. You feel that energy. Come and be a part of that energy. Come and join Easter with us. Love to see you. And if you're not in town, online is always good too. In 2 weeks, the week after that, we are doing our congregational theme Sunday, which is we're going to have food. So we started doing that again. We're going to do it once a month for a little while to get us back into the groove. So it's going to be on the last Sunday of the month of April. If you want to be a part of that, you bring food and join us in celebration. We're going to have tables set up in the back like we always did. See Larry Paris, and he'll tell you a little bit about what kinds of food to bring, or if you just want to bring it. It's going to be good stuff. I understand that Rich, what do you make it? No? It's no? Okay, Rich isn't doing it this time, buddy. We're going to have some really cool food, so bring us, we'll talk more about that. So this month, we are doing our April Planting Seeds and Growing Abundance. It's our matching fundraiser, so it's for the month of April. I want to thank everybody who's already donated for that. What happened is we had 2 people who donated $2,500 a piece. They're going to match it. So in other words, for every dollar we raise, they're going to match it dollar for dollar. So our goal is to raise $10,000. So thank you, everybody who's already donated. You can go right on the website and click the donations button. Right there is the matching fundraiser and donate there. It's, again, over and above your normal tithe because we're trying to raise a little extra money to keep us going here. And we do this a couple times during the year. So thank you very much if you've done that. And if you haven't, there's links available. See you guys soon. Thank you.
We have affirmations. Powerful affirmations. These affirmations are written by our dear friend and office volunteer, Betty Brink. She comes up with our quotes for the practitioners and our affirmations for all of us to say together. It's just an amazing thing. Talk about infinite imaginings, right? What creativity. Anyway, we're going to say these together. We're going to stand in the truth of them. Just allow that energy to flow through us as truth. You ready? With me? Good. New ideas and thoughts flow abundantly through my consciousness. Limitless creativity is always at my fingertips. I love my powerful imagination. Okay, number 2. We're going to say number 2 again. All right, here we go. Limitless creativity is always at my fingertips. Absolutely. Oh, I love it. Fingertips. Thank you, Mark. So let's go within one more time here and know and accept that Spirit is the truth of us. We are infinitely creative beings because Spirit is infinitely creative. Spirit has invested itself, all of its qualities, in each and every one of its creations, and we are that. So we know that creativity, the divine creativity of Spirit, flows through us, sparks our own imagination, our own idea, so that we can go forward and create as only we can, individually, uniquely, just as we are. I give great thanks for this. I know and accept that it is all good, it is all God, and so it is. Amen.